What's cracking, y'all? You are now watching Boo TV. Appreciate you for stopping in. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, stay notified, and let's get into the topic for today. Breaking news regarding the James Harden fiasco and saga. James Harden has been traded. I'll read this article I have right here from Yahoo Sports. Daryl Morey's longtime national nightmare is over. The Philadelphia 76ers executive agreed to trade 10-time NBA All-Star and one-time MVP James Harden to the LA Clippers early Tuesday morning, according to Woj. The 76ers reportedly will receive Marcus Morris, Nick Batum, Robert Covington, Kenyon Martin Jr., and draft picks, according to Woj. Philadelphia will receive a 2028 unprotected first-round pick, 2 second-round picks, a pick swap, and an additional first-round pick from a third team. P.J. Tucker and Philip something Petrosev are also part of the deal and will go to the Clippers, according to ESPN. The 76ers will waive Danny Green in order to free up a roster spot to complete the deal, according to Woj. Whoa. Now, obviously, this is great for the Philadelphia 76ers. They weren't playing Harden anyway, weren't planning on playing Harden anyway. Tyrese Maxey has stepped up and is flourishing in his new role, and now they've just added a lot more depth to the roster. But for the Los Angeles Clippers, you might think this looks dynamic, right? Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and then Big Zoo in the paint. Listen, I don't know what to make of this, man. I don't. It seems dynamic, or it would be dynamic, but we've seen this song played so many times, this tune played so many times, especially with James Harden. James Harden shouldn't be in the league. The NBA should do something about this guy, crying to every franchise he goes to, kicking and screaming, demanding to be traded after demanding to go there. Like, you just can't make this guy happy. This, how he's been maneuvering over the last few years, shouldn't be allowed in the NBA. Kick his ass out. This is a poor example of how to be an NBA player and how to navigate contracts and forcing your way out of situations that you force your way into. Anyway, upon hearing this news, I was upset because Russell Westbrook. Now Russell Westbrook is in a good environment. Well, prior to James Harden coming, a good environment. He could play his role as the primary point guard, play along two other all-stars / superstars that don't demand the ball. There's no redundant play styles. Each player is unique, and him, Kawhi, Paul George, surrounded by a great bench and great depth. And Russ has been absolutely flourishing with the Los Angeles Clippers going back to last season into this season. He's been playing phenomenally. I recently put out a video even showing you his statistics of over 20 plus games, which is over a quarter of an NBA season, which is a large enough sample size. And I recently put out a video with that whole Russell Westbrook thing, so I'm not getting into it. I was just so happy for him to having this revenge season, being able to be him again, being somewhere where they want him, being with other superstars that acknowledge his skill set and can work and play with him. Russell's going to have a great year. But now you bring in James Harden, and now you're going to run into that situation like you did with LeBron James trying to play with Russell Westbrook. Now, Russell Westbrook and James Harden played together before, obviously in OKC, but they were young, but as two all-star caliber players in Houston. And at first, it wasn't looking good. Eventually, Mike D'Antoni, being the offensive mastermind he was, figured out how to play those two guys together, and they looked very good for the second half of that season, and both guys were flourishing. But the problem is, it was just those two. Now you got these two, and Paul George, and Kawhi Leonard. So I don't see how this. I think Russ, he may very well, possibly, be closer to the Lakers version of himself than what we've seen from the Clippers version to himself. Or maybe he'll be absolutely fine. I could be wrong, but I don't know, because you bring in James Harden and here you have a redundant skill set of James Harden and Russell Westbrook. Are they going to start all four of these guys together? Is Russ going to go to the bench? Is James Harden going to go to the bench? I don't know. This is a hell of a Frankenstein experiment. I'll tell you that much right now. Hell of a Frankenstein experiment. And I think the Clippers are doing this more than anything as an insurance policy to Paul George and or Kawhi Leonard getting hurt late in the season. I think this is what that's about. I think they are almost expecting Kawhi Leonard and or Paul George to be hurt near the end of the season come playoff time. And having James Harden as an insurance policy to step up as another all-star and playmaker is what they're looking for. I think that is what this has more to do about than actually figuring out how all four of these guys are going to play together. Now, Ty Lue is one of the best coaches in the league. In my opinion, I don't know if he's the best coach in the league, but he's probably my favorite coach in the league. And if anybody can figure out this Frankenstein experiment, it's Tyronn Lue. And he quickly figured out Russell Westbrook, Paul George, and Kawhi Leonard in a small sample size. But throwing in James Harden is a wild card. This guy is so childish. So childish. And you just never know with him. No matter how great your coach might be, you're dealing with a child with James Harden. But I don't know. Maybe this is the time I'm wrong. Maybe this is the time we finally see this kind of Frankenstein experiment work out. Maybe. Who knows? I don't know. I have picked the Clippers the last 3 or 4 years to win the title. And I honestly think they would have won at least 2 of those years. But it's always health with these guys. It's always, is Kawhi Leonard going to be able to play? Is Paul George going to be able to play? It's more of a Kawhi Leonard thing than Paul George. But, like I said, I think this is an insurance policy for those 2 guys. Because we know Russ the Iron Man. We know Russ going to play. I think one of the more interesting things about this trade also is how the Clippers were able to maintain Terrence Mann and Norman Powell. Seriously. When I heard about the trade, I was like, well, definitely Powell and or Mann had to be released in this trade. Nope. They still got that powerful offensive punch off the bench and shooting off the bench with Norman Powell. Norman Powell can explode for 30 points any given night. He can. I like how he plays. He plays a lot. And they got Terrence Mann still. So they definitely gave up some depth, but they still have some quality players coming off the bench. Even with the loss of Culverton and Nicholas Batum and them boys. But they still have some quality players coming off the bench. And I think they were kind of in this now or never mindset, the Los Angeles Clippers, because I guess they're like, throw all the chips in the center of the table. Here we are. I don't know, man. I don't know. I love Russ. I want to see Russ get a ring. I like Paul George. I want to see PG get a ring. Love Kawhi Leonard. I want to see Kawhi Leonard get a ring. Not a James Harden fan by any means. But we'll see how this all works out. My, oh my, have things just got more interesting in L.A. Whew. Lakers and Clippers play each other this week, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if James Harden will be activated in that time, but it'll be interesting. That's definitely going to be some must-see TV. That's for damn sure. I don't know. I just feel bad for Russ if this goes south for him, man. Any other player that didn't have a Russell Westbrook skill set. Why James Harden? Insurance policy. I'm answering my own question. Now, if they could somehow figure out how to get all 4 of these guys functioning, assemble freaking Voltron, you know what I mean? Good on them, good on Ty Lue, and good on those guys if they could figure this thing out. Because if they could, you know, these guys aren't all in their prime anymore, obviously, but these guys aren't freaking old fossils either. Though some of their bodies seem like old fossils, they're not. So it'll be interesting. I would have to believe that Russ or James Harden is going to come off the bench. I I wouldn't start all four of them, especially with the bench getting a bit thinner. I probably need Russ come off the bench or James Harden. Hell, let James Harden come off the bench. Yeah, let James Harden come off the bench because at least you're going to get some shooting along with that playmaking. You're not going to get the shooting with Russ that you get with James Harden. I don't know. But James Harden is quite the gravy train guy, isn't he? This guy just want to hop from team to team to team, derail the train, and then hop on another train. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think about it. I would love to hear your opinion. Do you agree with any of my points? Do you disagree? Do you have some points of your own that I haven't said that make a lot of sense, or some angles or avenues that I haven't really thought of? Let me know. I'm gonna go about my day and stew on this some more. And wow, the NBA is crazy, man. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, stay notified, and I'll catch you on the next one. We out, baby.